Hey guys, so I just got back from seeing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and I've gotta admit, this movie was everything that I was hoping it would be and a little bit more. So the beginning of this review is going to be spoiler free, but then I will switch to spoilers. I will give you guys warning, so do not worry. So feel free to come check out the first half, spoiler free, and then, come back later after you've seen the movie for the second half of the review. Now, if this is your first time here, I'd love it if you take 1 second and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Okay, let's talk Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Hey, Tessa from MamasGeeky here. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel. Alright guys, so I went into this movie pretty hyped. I love Scarlet Witch, I love Wanda Maximoff, and I love what we got in WandaVision, and knowing that this was following that, and this was going to expand on what happened to her and her grief and everything that had been going on with her, I was so excited. Of course, I also love Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. I've got to admit, I wasn't a massive fan of the first Doctor Strange movie until after Endgame. Then in rewatching it, I really did become more of a fan of it. I also love Sam Raimi. I love horror. I love gore. This is my jam. I love his work as a director. So I was completely all in on this movie. And so to say that it met my expectations and even exceeded them says a lot. Now, this is very think Evil Dead Sam Raimi over Spider-Man Sam Raimi. I mean, you've got the classic Sam Raimi shots where you're like, oh yeah, this is, his cinematography style. We all know. His style of the jump scares, right? It's super quiet, and then, oh, no, now they're gonna give it to you. There's several moments like that. Now, I know a lot of people have been asking me how this movie is for kids. Now, I have 9 and 10-year-old daughters. They came to the movie with us, and they freaking loved this movie. There were moments they were cheering. There were moments they were crying. I was right along with them in both of those moments. And there were a few moments that they jump scared, yes. Never were they watching like this. They never were hiding. They're definitely not going to be having nightmares over this. It wasn't that scary to them. There's some moments towards the end where things get very intense. But to me, they weren't scary, terrifying intense. They were just fun horror intense. Again, think Evil Dead, right? To me, that's not a terrifying movie, but it's fun. And yes, it fits in the horror genre. That's kind of what I got from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, every single person, every single actor really, really, truly brings it in this movie. Benedict Cumberbatch has taken a step up. Elizabeth Olsen, I mean, listen, she's phenomenal in everything she does. So to even say that she's raised the bar in playing Wanda feels like something that can't happen because she's always been at the top of her game. But there's something about her in this movie that just absolutely it's captivating. It's you can't stop staring at her from the moment we first see her. And there's a conversation that she has with Strange at one point, and you're just like, oh, this is where we're going. And she's so good at what she does, and it's emotional. I mean, her whole arc, I've got to say, got to me a little bit. I had read some reactions on Twitter before going in and seeing this movie where people said they did her dirty. I saw a lot of people say Elizabeth Olsen was phenomenal, but her arc was not that great. They kind of did Scarlet Witch dirty. They kind of did Wanda dirty. I don't think that's the case. For me as a mother, her arc is very, very believable. And so I absolutely adored her in this. I like getting to see the full power of Scarlet Witch as a fan of hers from the comics. I know what those powers are, and to see her completely unleash, it seems like, in this movie, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, Xochitl Gomez as America Chavez. I gotta admit, I love America in the comics. Big fan of hers in the comics. So I was excited to see her come into the MCU, or to hear that she was coming into the MCU. Now, during the press conference, Xochitl did say that, she's younger than she is in the comics. In here, she's 14, so this is kind of like a prequel to her, right? It's an introduction. It's what we haven't seen of her in the comics. So while she is a little bit different, her attitude is a little bit different from the comic books, I can kind of see that working out because this is a different America than we know from the comic books, right? And she's a younger version of her. So this is like the starting out of her, and I get it, right? I understand. I do like her story. I like her part of the story. She's very important to the story. Now, I will say Marvel was all like, oh, we're going to recognize that she's in the LGBTQ plus community. listen, Marvel, a little, rainbow flag on her jacket is not recognizing that enough. I was a little disappointed by that. I felt like this is such an important part of her and who she is, and I don't think it needed to overshadow the story, but it should have been in there a little bit more. I get one. There was one other little tie. I don't want to talk about it because it feels like it's a little spoilery that I get, but it still to me wasn't. I was like, no, you didn't really fully address this to me. I felt like we could have seen a little bit more, but still, Sochi is amazing in this role. She's really, really great. She steals a lot of her scenes that she's in. The only time she doesn't steal the scene is, when she's up against Lizzie, but come on. It's Lizzie, right? She's so good. Elizabeth Olsen is so good. So commanding on screen. Her presence is just, gosh, she's like a force on screen. I don't know how else to describe it. But the story overall is a lot of fun, okay? Yes, this is a horror movie, but it's also a superhero movie. There's a great arc, a great story. I think the plot is decent. I think it's important to the MCU. I think it tells a good, thorough, concise story. There's not a lot of loose ends left at the end that haven't been tied up. Everything is pretty tied up. Of course, they tease what the future could be because it's Marvel. But overall, the story was really, really good. The script gets cheesy. I'm going to put that out there. The script gets cheesy, but it's still fun. I enjoy some cheese every once in a while. And it worked in this story. It actually worked in these moments. There's a lot of humor in here. Again, like I said, there's a lot of heart. There were definitely moments where I shed some tears. There's a few moments where I shed some tears. Rachel McAdams was great to see her back. She's not in it as much as I guess I thought she would be in it, but she's still in it quite a bit, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. I know a lot of people talked about this is going to be cameo central, and it really wasn't. Yes, there's cameos, but it doesn't overshadow everything. They completely work, and it fits, and it makes sense. And that is what I really like about that. It doesn't feel like, oh, this is completely fan service. Because for me, that wasn't the case. It actually really worked within the story. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm going to talk more about this in the spoiler section. So if you have already seen the movie, hold on. We'll get to this in a minute. The visual effects were pretty decent. There are definitely some moments where you're like, ooh, that could have looked better. Or, ooh, all right, yeah, they could have done a little bit better with that. But that happens in movies like this. Now, overall, thoroughly enjoyed it. Tons of fun. Phenomenal acting on all parts. And a really fun, decent story. Great addition to the MCU. Not my favorite, but still top tier Marvel for me. Listen, I give Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness a 4 out of 5. Now, I'm going to give you a warning. We are going to talk a little bit of spoilers. Not too much. I know this video is already super long. But there's a few things I want to address spoiler-wise. So you have a warning of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to talk spoilers for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. The first thing I need to talk about is, yes, those cameos. Listen, that moment worked so well for me with the Illuminati. Obviously, seeing John Krasinski as Reed Richards was like, the second they said the Baxter Building, I was like, oh my God, here we go. Oh, we're going to get, oh, come on. I want to see, but to get Black Bolt, those two were my absolute favorites. I love Black Bolt in the comics. I never watched the Inhuman show because I was told it would destroy me because of how much I love Black Bolt and the Inhumans. So I never watched it. But this version of Black Bolt was so incredible. And it makes me very, very, very excited for what is to come next. The way Wanda just came in and literally just killed all of the Illuminati was amazing. Black Bolt's death was crazy. Reed Richards' death was crazy. Let's talk about, oh my gosh, let's talk about Professor X, okay? Let's talk about Charles Xavier. Let's talk about Sir Patrick Stewart and how amazing he is. He just slides right back into that role like it's no big deal, right? No big deal. Yeah, I've done this a million times. I'm an expert at my job. And he's so good. And that moment when he's trying to get the other Wanda out so that maybe this will stop the Wanda we know, our Wanda, I guess, right, from dream walking. And she comes up behind him and she snaps his neck. That was crazy. I love so many of the horror elements, the moments where she's pulling people through the reflections. She is just not taking anything. She is just destroying everyone. And I get it. As a mother, I get it. She wants to do literally anything to get to her children. It is absolutely heartbreaking, however, that moment when she's there and the other Wanda says, no, they will be loved. That crushed me. And then, like, she's not dead, right? Because, like, if they literally just killed her and this is how they killed her, I'm going to be so mad. We need more of her. I was kind of like, what? And I felt like it was very abrupt for her to be like, I'm going to close the Darkhold. And then she, like, died. And she destroyed all the Darkholds and the whole universe, multiverse is whatever, great, wonderful. But that felt weird to me and that felt off to me. And that was one thing I really didn't like about this. That was, like, the one thing about her arc is I felt like, okay, but why? Like, you know she has a way she can destroy the Darkhold and not die. Is she afraid she'll be too tempted? Like, what's going on here? So that was a little bit frustrating for me and a little bit annoying for me. But overall, I mean, Elizabeth Olsen just absolutely crushes it. And then the end credit scenes, of course, we see Clea show up, which was like, and Charlize Theron as the casting, like that casting choice, I never would have thought in a million years, I never would have picked that casting choice. But it kind of works. Kind of working for me. And then, of course, the fun little end credit. It's over! That was fun. I mean, we knew that he's going to show up here. It's a Sam Raimi movie. We saw him earlier, but to have that him be the actual end and being like, it's over. It was fun. It was fun! Listen, this movie is a lot of fun. Is it perfect? No. But it's an absolute blast. I really enjoy, like I said, the whole arc. This is a great introduction to America. Obviously, she's going to be sticking around. There's crazy stuff going on with Strange now. I mean, is the other one, like, dreamwalking in him? Like, is that why he's got that third eye? What's happening here? I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for what's probably going to be Doctor Strange 3. Will that be the next time we see him and Clea? I don't know. But I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It exceeded expectations. Elizabeth Olsen, though, man, I'm really, really, really gonna miss her if this is it for her, and I hope that it is not. You guys tell me what you thought down below in the comments about this movie. Be sure to give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. You can follow me over on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at MamasGeeky over there, MamasGeeky. I'm also on TikTok. You guys can check me out at MamasGeeky.com as well. Thanks for listening to me ramble, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much to all of my monetary supporters, my members here on YouTube, as well as my patrons. If you haven't joined yet, please consider doing so. We have some really awesome perks, including a monthly Zoom meeting where we get to talk face to face. Thank you again to everyone who supports me.